The Galactic Council chamber floated silently in space, orbiting the neutral world of Nexus Prime. Inside, representatives from 47 conquered star systems sat quietly, waiting. Through the massive windows, dark warships of the Crithian Empire blocked out the stars. Ambassador Park Day stood at Earth's small podium. He was calm, his face showing no emotion. Beside him were only two others from Earth, military officer Kim Tae and cultural expert Lee Ari. They looked tiny compared to the massive alien beings around them. High Commander Vrakthar entered the chamber. He was enormous, twice as tall as any human, covered in dark armor. His four eyes glowed red as he looked down at the crowd. The room became completely silent. Members of the Galactic Council, Vrakthar's voice boomed like thunder. The Crithian Empire has conquered 47 star systems. We have brought order to the galaxy. Now we turn to the newest species in space. He pointed one clawed finger directly at Ambassador Day. Humanity. You have only been in space for 200 years. You have only 12 small colony worlds. The Council has protected you long enough. Today the Crithian Empire declares war on all human worlds. You have 30 days to surrender. If you refuse, we will destroy everything you have built. Quiet whispers spread through the chamber. Many alien representatives looked at the humans with pity. They knew what happened to those who fought the Crithian Empire. Everyone lost. Ambassador Day did not move. He stood perfectly still for several long seconds. Then he stepped forward to speak. High Commander Vrakthar, Day said, his voice steady and clear. Earth accepts your declaration of war. We do not refuse it. The entire chamber went silent. Every being stared at the human. However, Day continued, I suggest you think carefully about this choice. Perhaps you should ask your military historians to study Earth first. Learn what happens when you threaten a species that has spent thousands of years imagining every possible way the universe could kill them. Vrakthar threw his head back and laughed. The sound was harsh like metal scraping metal. His officers laughed with him. Are you threatening us, human? Vrakthar asked, amused. You have 12 worlds. We have 700. Your fleet has a few hundred ships. Ours has tens of thousands. What could you possibly do against us? Day's face remained calm. This is not a threat, Commander. It is a warning. We have been ready for this conversation since the first human looked up at the night sky and wondered what was out there. At the back of the Crithian group, General Vex stood in silence. Unlike her commander, she did not laugh. She watched the human ambassador carefully. She had fought in 32 wars of conquest. She had seen many species face defeat. But this human showed no fear. His eyes held something else. Knowledge. Confidence. As if he knew a secret that Vrakthar did not. This worried her. 30 days, Vrakthar announced, turning away from Day. Use them wisely. Prepare your surrender documents. The Crithian Empire always keeps its promises. So does humanity, Day replied quietly. As the Crithians left the chamber, General Vex paused. She looked back at the human one more time. Then she followed her commander out. Kim Tae breathed slowly. It is done. Yes, Day said. Liari checked her tablet. Should I send the emergency message to all human colonies now? Should I activate Protocol Nightfall? Not yet, Day answered. First, we let them believe they understand us. Wait 15 days. Then we show them what humanity really means. As the humans left, none of the other council members looked at them. They all expected Earth to fall, just like the other 47 civilizations before them. Only General Vex felt doubt. Back on her flagship, she sat at her computer terminal. She typed into the galactic database, human culture, military history, warfare. Many files appeared. But one category made her pause. Fiction. Humans had created an entire art form based on imaginary scenarios. Stories that never happened. She clicked on a section called Science Fiction. Over 50,000 years of material appeared, if read continuously. General Vex began to read. 14 days later, she would beg High Commander Vrakthar to cancel the invasion. By then, it would already be too late. The Crithian war fleet arrived at the human colony of New Hebrides on the 15th day. High Commander Vrakthar had decided not to wait the full 30 days. He wanted to crush human resistance quickly and show the galaxy that the Crithian Empire was unstoppable. Commander Zal stood on the bridge of the lead battleship, watching the blue and green planet below. Beside him, his tactical officer counted the human ships gathering to defend the colony. Sir, we count 37 human vessels. We have 112 ships in our fleet. This will be an easy victory. Zal nodded. Send the surrender demand. Give them 1 hour to evacuate the planet. The message was transmitted. Zal expected immediate compliance. Every other species had surrendered when faced with impossible odds. The humans would be no different. The reply came back in 30 seconds. Negative. New Hebrides does not surrender. Come and take it if you can. Zal was surprised but not concerned. Very well. All ships, attack formation. Destroy their fleet, then begin planetary bombardment. The Crithian fleet moved forward like a dark wave. The human ships moved to intercept, arranging themselves in a defensive wall between the enemy and their colony. The battle began. Within the first 10 minutes, Zal realized something was wrong. The humans were not fighting like a normal military force. When their ships were damaged, they did not retreat. Instead, they accelerated forward, ramming themselves into Crithian vessels. When a human ship lost its weapons, the pilot would aim it at the nearest enemy and detonate the reactor core. "Sir, the humans are destroying themselves," his tactical officer shouted. "They are using their own ships as weapons." Zal watched in horror as a small human corvette, burning and broken, slammed into a Crithian cruiser at full speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. "This is madness," Zal whispered. "Do they not value their own lives?" His communication officer was monitoring human transmissions. "Sir, you need to hear this." He played an audio recording. A human pilot, her ship failing around her, spoke calmly to her commander. "Reactor containment at 15%. I can't make it back. Redirecting all power to engines. I'm going to take that dreadnought with me. Tell my family I love them. Tell them I died protecting home." Another voice responded. "Understood. Your sacrifice will be remembered. Humanity remembers." Then static. Zal felt something he had not experienced in decades of warfare. Uncertainty. The battle continued for 6 hours. The human fleet was eventually destroyed, but not before eliminating 68 Crithian ships. More than half of Zal's fleet was gone. 68 ships lost against 37 defenders. This had never happened before. Zal stood among the wreckage of his victory, watching debris float in space. His officers were silent, shocked by their losses. "Prepare the report for High Commander Vrakthar," Zal said quietly. "Tell him we have taken New Hebrides. Tell him the humans refused to surrender. And tell him." He paused. "Tell him they fought like they had nothing to lose." On the planet below, the remaining human colonists were being evacuated under guard. But they were not afraid. As Crithian soldiers marched them to transport ships, the humans sang. They sang songs of defiance, songs of home, songs promising that others would come for revenge. One Crithian soldier asked his commander, "Why do they sing?" "They have lost." The commander had no answer. Across the galaxy, General Vex received the battle report. She had been reading human fiction for 14 days straight, barely sleeping. She had discovered something terrifying. Humans had written thousands of stories about losing. About being invaded, conquered, destroyed. But in every story the humans never gave up. They fought from the shadows. They sacrificed everything. They made their enemies pay for every meter of ground. The stories were not just entertainment. They were training manuals. Instructions for survival. Lessons in how to make victory so costly that winning meant losing. She opened a communication channel to High Commander Vrakthar's flagship. "Sir, I request an immediate meeting. It is urgent. We need to stop the invasion." The reply came back, "Request denied. The invasion proceeds as planned. We have achieved our first victory." General Vex closed her eyes. She thought of the human stories she had read. Stories of last stands, of Pyrrhic victories, of species that would burn the galaxy rather than surrender. "This is not a victory," she whispered to the empty room. "This is the beginning of a nightmare." General Vex sat alone in her quarters aboard the command ship. Around her floated dozens of holographic screens, all displaying human fictional works. She had not slept in 3 days. She could not stop reading. The more she read, the more afraid she became. She opened another file. This one was called The War of the Worlds. It told the story of Earth being invaded by superior alien forces. The humans lost every battle. Their cities burned. Millions died. But the humans never stopped fighting. They used guerrilla tactics, hidden weapons, and finally biological warfare to defeat their enemies. Vex closed that file and opened another. Ender's Game. A story about human children being trained to fight an alien species. The humans were desperate, outnumbered, facing extinction. So they turned their children into weapons. Another file. The Forge of God. Earth was completely destroyed by aliens. But the humans had prepared. They had hidden ships across the galaxy. They spent generations hunting down their enemy. They did not rest until every single member of the alien species was dead. Total extinction. Revenge across centuries. Vex felt cold. She opened the human entertainment database and searched for a specific term she had seen repeated, HFY. The computer explained it meant humanity fuck yeah. It was an entire category of stories where humans were portrayed as uniquely stubborn, resourceful, and dangerous. She read one story where humans were the only species that considered mutually assured destruction an acceptable military strategy. Where other species would surrender rather than die, humans would choose to destroy everything, including themselves, rather than lose. Another story described humans as deathworlders, who evolved on a planet so dangerous that they considered pain, poison, and predators normal. The story claimed that what humans called a nice day would kill most other species. Vex checked Earth's environmental data. Gravity higher than 70% of inhabited worlds. Atmosphere containing reactive oxygen. Weather patterns including electrical storms, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Predator-to-prey ratios that suggested constant warfare for survival. The story was not exaggeration. It was fact. She found military analysis files written by humans themselves. Documents with titles like Asymmetric Warfare Tactics, Resistance Operations in Occupied Territory, and Scorched Earth Protocols. These were not theoretical. They were detailed plans, practiced and refined over thousands of years of humans fighting each other. One document caught her attention. The Geneva Conventions. She opened it, expecting military strategy. Instead, she found a list of rules for warfare. Things humans had agreed not to do to each other because they were too horrible. Vex read the list with growing horror. Biological weapons. Chemical weapons. Torture. Targeting civilians. Human history was so filled with atrocities that they had to create laws to stop themselves. And these were just the things they agreed were too terrible to use on each other. She thought about what they might do to an alien enemy they truly hated. Vex opened a communication channel to High Commander Vrakthar. His face appeared on the screen, annoyed at being disturbed. General Vex, I am preparing for the assault on the human home system. This had better be important. Sir, I have been studying human culture as you ordered. I have discovered something critical. We must stop the invasion immediately. Vrakthar laughed. Stop? We have just begun. Commander Zal's victory at New Hebrides proves the humans can be defeated. That was not a victory, sir. We lost 68 ships against 37 defenders. The humans fought with a complete disregard for their own survival. And I have learned why. She transmitted several files to his screen. Sir, humans have spent their entire existence creating fictional scenarios of invasion, apocalypse, and extinction. They have imagined every possible disaster and written detailed stories about surviving them. Their entertainment is a training program. Their fiction is a military manual. Vrakthar waved his hand dismissively. Stories cannot win wars, General. Sir, these are not just stories. Look at this one. She highlighted a human work called Footfall. In the story, aliens invaded Earth with superior technology. The humans lost every conventional battle. So they built a warship powered by nuclear bombs and rammed it into the alien mothership. They won by doing something completely insane that no rational species would ever consider, Vex said. And they have thousands of these stories. Each one teaching them a different way to fight when all hope is lost. Vrakthar was silent for a moment. Then he shook his head. You are afraid of children's tales, General? I expect better from you. We attack Earth in 14 days. Prepare your fleet. The communication ended. General Vex sat in the darkness, surrounded by human nightmares given form. She opened one final file. A quote from a human philosopher named Nietzsche. Beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. For when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you. She finally understood. Humanity had spent millennia staring into the abyss. They had imagined every monster, every disaster, every possible end. And the abyss had taught them how to become monsters themselves. The Crithian Grand Fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 5,000 warships, the largest invasion force ever assembled. High Commander Vrakthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the small blue planet in the distance. Send the final surrender demand, he ordered. The message was transmitted across all frequencies. Humanity, this is your last chance. Surrender now or be destroyed. You have 1 hour. The response came immediately. Not words but a simple code transmission. Protocol Nightfall activated. Vrakthar frowned. What does that mean? Before anyone could answer, the space around them came alive. Asteroids that had appeared dead and empty suddenly lit up with weapons fire. Hidden bases built into rocks and ice opened their hatches, launching thousands of missiles. Satellites that had seemed like old space junk transformed into armed platforms. Ships that had been camouflaged against the dark appeared from nowhere. Ambush, someone screamed. They were waiting for us. The human defense fleet numbered only 800 ships, but they fought with the same suicidal tactics Vrakthar had heard about from New Hebrides. They did not retreat. They did not hesitate. Every damaged human ship became a guided missile aimed at Krithian vessels. But this time they had prepared the battlefield. A Krithian dreadnought exploded as it flew through what appeared to be empty space. Hidden mines detonated in chains, tearing through the formation. Weapons platforms emerged from behind Earth's moon, firing coordinated volleys. They have fortified their entire system. Vrakthar's tactical officer reported. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid belt. The whole solar system is a trap. On the human command station orbiting Mars, Admiral Kim Hwan watched the battle unfold. Beside him, Defense Coordinator Lee Nari monitored incoming damage reports. Sir, we are losing ships faster than projected, she said calmly. I know, Hwan replied. But so are they. Continue Protocol Nightfall. All units remember your training. Make them pay for every meter. A communication came from a human destroyer that had lost its engines. The captain's voice was steady. Command, this is the destroyer Achilles. We are dead in space. Krithian cruiser approaching our position. Requesting permission to execute Protocol Samson. Hwan closed his eyes briefly. Protocol Samson meant overloading the reactor and using the ship as a bomb. Everyone on board would die. Permission granted, Achilles. Your sacrifice will be remembered. Tell Earth we did our duty. Achilles out. 10 seconds later, the destroyer exploded, taking the Krithian cruiser with it. Vrakthar watched his fleet being torn apart. Yes, they were destroying human ships. Yes, they were winning by numbers. But the cost was unthinkable. For every human ship destroyed, they lost 3 or 4 Krithian vessels. This is impossible, he roared. They should have surrendered by now. His communication officer intercepted a human broadcast. A message being sent to all human colonies across the galaxy. It was Admiral Hwan's voice. To all human worlds, this is Earth Command. The Krithian Empire came to our home system expecting easy victory. They did not understand what they were fighting. We are the species that survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear weapons. We are the species that looked at the stars and decided to reach them, even though space itself tried to kill us. We have spent 10,000 years imagining every way the universe could destroy us. And we learned how to survive every single one. The message continued. The Krithians wanted war with humanity. They are about to understand what that truly means. We will fight them in space. We will fight them on our planets. We will fight them in our cities and in our ruins. We will never surrender. We will never stop. And if we must fall, we will make our enemies wish they had never heard the name Earth. The broadcast ended with a single phrase in the ancient human language Latin. Si vis pacem, para bellum. Vrakthar's translator provided the meaning, if you want peace, prepare for war. At that moment, a massive human colony ship broke from Earth orbit. Instead of fleeing, it accelerated directly toward Vrakthar's flagship. The ship was filled with civilians, but it had been converted into a massive bomb. Evasive maneuvers. Vrakthar screamed. Too late. The colony ship, named Hope's End, slammed into the flagship's port side. The explosion tore through 3 decks. Vrakthar was thrown across the bridge. Emergency alarms screamed. Half his command crew was dead. Abandon the flagship, he ordered, blood running down his face. Transfer command to the secondary vessel. As he evacuated to an escape pod, Vrakthar looked back at Earth. The small blue planet was still there, still fighting, surrounded by the wreckage of thousands of ships from both sides. For the first time in his military career, High Commander Vrakthar felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death. Fear of what humanity would become if pushed too far. Fear of what they would do if they truly decided to make the galaxy burn. General Vex, commanding a secondary fleet near Jupiter, watched the flagship fall. She opened a priority channel to the Krithian home world. This is General Vex. I am requesting an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The invasion must stop. Now. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened 40 days after the Crythian Empire declared war on humanity. The chamber was packed. Every species in the galaxy wanted to witness this historic moment. General Vex walked to the central platform alone. High Commander Vrakthar was still recovering from his injuries. Of the 5,000 ships that attacked Earth, only 1,800 survived. The human losses were even greater, but they had held their home world. The council speaker, a tall being from the Matharian species, addressed the assembly. General Vex, you have requested this emergency session. The council recognizes you. Speak. Vex activated a holographic display. Images of destroyed ships, burning stations, and battle debris filled the air above the council floor. Honored members, Vex began, her voice steady but tired. 40 days ago, the Crythian Empire declared war on humanity. We believed it would be a simple conquest like the 47 systems we had taken before. We were wrong. She changed the display to show casualty numbers. We lost 3,200 ships. 60% of our invasion force. The humans lost nearly their entire defense fleet. By any measure, we achieved a military victory. We could continue the war. We could eventually conquer Earth through sheer numbers. Vex paused, looking around the chamber. But I stand before you today to request an immediate ceasefire and formal peace negotiations with humanity. Because if we continue this war, we will destroy ourselves. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The Crythian delegation looked shocked. One of them stood. General Vex, you speak of surrender? The Crythian Empire does not surrender. I do not speak of surrender, Vex replied firmly. I speak of survival. Please, allow me to explain what I have learned about our enemy. She changed the holographic display to show human cultural files. Books, films, games, artwork. Thousands upon thousands of items. This is human fiction. For 10,000 years, humans have created imaginary stories. At first, I thought this was meaningless entertainment. I was wrong. These stories are humanity's greatest weapon. She highlighted specific works. Here is a story where Earth is destroyed by aliens, but humans survive in hidden colony ships and spend 300 years hunting their enemy to extinction. Here is one where humans lose a war but use biological weapons to ensure both sides are wiped out. Here is another where Earth is invaded, and humans retreat underground to fight a guerrilla war that lasts centuries. The council members leaned forward, fascinated and disturbed. Humans have imagined their own destruction thousands of times, Vex continued. They have written detailed scenarios of apocalypse, invasion, plague, nuclear war, artificial intelligence rebellion, asteroid impacts, and cosmic horror. And in each story they explore how to survive, how to fight back, how to win against impossible odds. She showed footage from the Battle of Earth. Watch this. A human colony ship, filled with civilians, deliberately crashes into our flagship. The captain broadcast a message before impact. For every human life you take, we will make you pay tenfold. This is what you get for threatening our home. The chamber was silent. Other species create art about harmony and beauty, Vex said quietly. Humans create art about survival and defiance. They have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. They have spent their entire history preparing for the worst. And now we have become their worst. She displayed a quote from human literature on the screen. This is from their philosopher Sun Tzu. Build your enemy a golden bridge to retreat across. We did not give humanity a way to retreat. We threatened their home. We gave them no choice but total resistance. Vex showed more files. Humans have military protocols with names like Scorched Earth, Mutually Assured Destruction, and Last Stand. They have plans for fighting wars from underground bunkers, from generation ships in deep space, from hidden bases on distant worlds. If we destroy Earth, we do not defeat humanity. We turn them into an enemy that will fight us across the galaxy for generations. She changed the display one final time. It showed intercepted human communications, messages between colonies. They were preparing, building weapons, training civilians, getting ready for a long war. If we continue this invasion, Vex said, we may conquer their worlds. But we will create an enemy that will never forgive, never forget, and never stop fighting. They will become ghosts, striking from shadows across the galaxy. They will poison our worlds, sabotage our ships, and teach their children to hate us for 1,000 years. The council speaker looked troubled. What do you propose, General? Immediate ceasefire. Peace negotiations. We offer them status as a protected species under galactic law. Not because they are weak, but because they are too dangerous to fight. We show them respect instead of conquest. We give them the Golden Bridge. Before anyone could respond, the chamber doors opened. Ambassador Park Day walked in, accompanied by Admiral Kim Hwan and Lee Ari. They looked exhausted but unbowed. Day approached the platform. The human delegation has been listening. We accept General Vex's proposal. Earth agrees to a ceasefire, effective immediately. Relief flooded the chamber. However, Day continued, we have conditions. First, all Krithian forces withdraw from human space. Second, the Krithian Empire pays reparations for the destruction of New Hebrides. Third, the Galactic Council formally recognizes human sovereignty over our territory. And fourth. He paused. The galaxy understands that humanity desires peace. But we will always be ready for war. The council speaker looked at Vex. She nodded. The Krithian Empire accepts these terms, Vex said. As the council erupted in discussion, Vex approached Ambassador Day privately. I read your stories, she said quietly. All of them. I understand now why you fight the way you do. Day smiled sadly. We write those stories so we never forget what we are capable of. Both the good and the terrible. We hope by imagining the worst we can avoid it. Vex handed him a data chip. I have been authorized to share our military archives with you. So you understand we also want peace. And I have something for you, Day replied, giving her a small package. Inside were several human books, physical paper copies. So you understand why we would rather be friends than enemies. Vex looked at the titles. Stories of cooperation, hope, and building a better future. Perhaps, she said, our species can write a new story together. One where we both survive. I would like that, Day said. 40 days after war was declared, peace was achieved. Not through victory but through understanding. The galaxy learned an important lesson that day. Never fight a species that has spent 10,000 years imagining how to survive the end of everything.